Okay. I can start. So anyway, congratulations, Ben. Maiden Century Series win, all of it kind of coming together. I'm sure you definitely dreamt of a day like this.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a century and also to get the series win is definitely one to remember. We played very well today as a team. To restrict it to 240 was an exceptional effort, and yeah, just very happy to be here and pleased to contribute.
Then how crucial is your form from domestic coming into international cricket? Because we see new hit runs in the domestic setup, and now you're bringing that to the international setup. How do you think it contributes towards your form, your confidence, and everything?
Yeah, of course, it's key. Coming to this season, I started off nicely, getting some runs, which was good, and of course, just that momentum, the time in the crease obviously helps going into the international circuit with Afghanistan, and now obviously here today with Ireland. And yeah, it's the same sort of thing for me, just trying to keep it simple, stick to the basics, and not get too far ahead of myself. But yeah, again, just happy to contribute.
So I would like you to explain for future youngsters, how do you handle yourself when you're on 99, or maybe from 95 all the way to your 100? Because I saw you calm, okay, from where we were, you were very calm. So I just want you to take us through the phases when you get to the 90s.
Yeah.
How do you handle the pressure? How do you keep yourself in the game without that pressure affecting you?
I think luckily today there wasn't too much scoreboard pressure. Craig came in and played an unbelievable innings. So it took the pressure off me to just sort of keep ticking over, keep hitting the gaps hard and keep the scoreboard ticking. So I didn't feel the pressure in the sense that we need to score the runs quickly. We had a lot of balls. So today I was lucky. Maybe on another day if we're batting first, I might have to score them quicker, take a little bit more of a risk. But I knew at some point I was going to get a ball in my area to then score.
Yeah, and Ben, how sentimental is it for you to carry on the family tradition in this sport? I know that your father played for this country, your grandfather played for this country, and then your brothers went to the other route and played for England. But you sort of carried on the current family tradition to play for Zimbabwe. Now does it make you feel and being successful?
Yeah, very special, obviously, for me to be back here representing Zimbabwe. And hopefully, I've got a lot of cricket left in me here for Zimbabwe and contributing ultimately to win games. There's a few World Cups coming up, and that's a big target for the team as a collective. So ultimately, we're just looking to get better as a team and keep improving. And hopefully, there comes the 26, 27 World Cup, we put on a good showing.
Justin, and congratulations for the ODI series win. You did quite do in the Test series. This is your first series win as coach. What amount of responsibility do you take for these results? Is there any?
I'll take responsibility for the losses, but at the end of the day, it's the players that go to win these series. So the credit needs to go to them. They've been unbelievable. They really have put a lot of hard work in over the last sort of 6-7 months. And it's great to see that it's shown off in this series. Yeah.
And are there any targets, maybe at a personal level or at a board level, when you accepted this job? Are you given any?
No,
any sort of.
No, I won't go into the targets, but we have our vision and our goal as a team. I think that for me is the ultimate that we're trying to achieve, and that vision isn't now. It's obviously geared towards certain events. Us wanting to be able to achieve that, and this is part of the journey towards that.
Coach, getting this win, does that take the monkey off the back of some fans that have been thinking how the process is working? Maybe some players might feel, look, I need to go back to some of my old habits in order to try to win matches.
Yeah, I suppose it always helps when you're winning, because when you're losing, there's always going to be question marks around processes that have been followed and the sort of direction in terms of the way we want to play the game. That'll be questioned. So it definitely helps in that regard. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's not about the now, it's about the end vision and this being part of that journey to get to that vision. And we understand as a team, as a coaching staff, that there are going to be ups and there are going to be downs along that journey. It's about obviously staying the course through those downs I think that's hugely important because you can easily, like you say, slip into to maybe old habits or things like that. So yeah, it's important that we stay the course regardless of the now.
Two players I just want to ask about, this is my final question. Trevor Gwandu's come back, especially since the second innings against Afghanistan. Bowled very well. What you have to say about that? And also there was a very aggressive Richard Ngarama today getting involved in the plans today. Is that part of what you're doing as a team, maybe giving him a bit more of a leadership?
Yeah, so just on your first question around Trevor, whenever the chips are down and sort of his back's against the wall, he's really shown character and stood up in a really impressive way. I think one of those moments was the second innings in the test against Ireland in Bulawayo. After he struggled in the first, the way he came back there in the second was really impressive to see. And yeah, the way he's come out and bowled in the series has been brilliant. He really backed up Blessing and Richard really well today. So he's got certain attributes that we obviously identified, and it's great to see him come to the fore. And then in terms of your question around Richard, he's definitely a leader within the team, and we want him to stand up and sort of take that responsibility. So it's good to see him expressing himself in that way.
Coach, it seems like we've been in this situation one too many times in recent months, years, where we are 1-1 in a series and then we end up losing. What was the message to the guys so that we can get over the line this time around?
Yeah, look, I mean, we know we've come really close over the last few months. There's been moments that could have gone our way that didn't, and that's obviously hurt us in a sense. But I think the message is the same as what it's always been, and that's that we want to try and, in those moments, play to win the game. Like, not wait for the opposition to make mistakes. So actually go and grab the bull by the horns, and that's what Ben did so brilliantly. Obviously within that power play, the way he took it on, him and Benny were unbelievable, So that is the big message. Like, don't be scared. Don't wait for the opposition to make a mistake. Let us go and win the game. It's that sort of mindset that we're looking for. And that is regardless of actually whether it's 1-1 or we're 2-0 down or we're 2-0 up or it's the first game of the series. We want that approach, We want to be able to not be scared to make mistakes, in other words. And obviously with smart cricket, doesn't mean we're reckless, doesn't mean we're stupid. It's within our game plans, but obviously to be brave within that.
Yeah, and then you mentioned that you're on a journey. Let's say on a scale of 1% to 100% in all three formats of the game, where do you think you are right now on that journey?
Yeah, look, I definitely see improvements, without a doubt. I think we are improving, even if results maybe didn't go away. There's still small improvements that we're seeing within the sort of process. If I'm being honest, I don't think I can put a percentage on it, but we've got a long way to go. We've got a lot of improving to do in all facets of the game. Obviously, from a mindset point of view, our skill or level of skill needs to improve. But that should be the case for. I mean, if you look at the very best in the world, so Virat Kohli is constantly trying to improve. Joe Root's constantly trying to improve, regardless of where he's at. So I never think, as cricketers, I don't think we're ever satisfied in terms of actually where we are. But we know there's a long way to go still for us to be actually where we want to be, and that's competing with the best in the world. We want to be competing with the best in the world, and we know the standard that they're at.
All right. So just talking about the improvement process and competing against the best, does that also make it a little bit easier that you've got quite a jam-packed calendar this year to really try and size yourself up? And also talking about depth, is that something that you're discussing with the technical team as well to try and see the kinds of combinations so that you come up with maybe your best ODI test side as well as T20 side?
Yeah, so the schedule is brilliant. I mean, like I said, probably at one of the other conferences too, we've played against Pakistan in Bulawayo, where conditions really suited the attack, and they've got some of the best seamers in the world, some of the best mystery spinners. Then to go play against Afghanistan, also the same thing in terms of white ball cricket, as an incredible attack. Some of the best spinners in the world, really skillful seamers. Ireland themselves, they disciplined. They bring a different aspect to it. Maybe there's no mystery or extreme pace, but they're very disciplined. They'll constantly test your defence and test your plans. Then to go to England, or sorry, Bangladesh, in Bangladesh, England in England, South Africa, New Zealand, like it's unbelievable. So that's what you want to be doing. You're only going to improve. We're not going to make those improvements that we're looking for just by being in the nets. The majority of those improvements will come from experiences that are gained in the middle. That is where our improvement will take place. And again, so a lesson might not necessarily sink in immediately, but in 2-3 months' time, in 6 months' time, all of a sudden things start happening. So that exposure to playing the best is priceless, to be honest. And so the second part of your question, I can't remember that.
Yeah, I was talking about as well the depth charts.
Oh, the depth.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a fine balance in terms of that. Obviously, the greater the depth, the better for us. I think the key within depth is competition for places. So like you mentioned in terms of form at domestic cricket, so we want our guys, once they've been with us, to go back to domestic cricket and completely dominate, and for those that aren't with us, to be dominating. So that competition for places is healthy. I think that's ultimately what, whether it's 20 or 10 or 5 players, that obviously depends on your system. But the key is that even if it is those 5, they're really competing. If it's those 10, they're really competing. I think that's the important part is the competition for place.
Okay, so So for a very long time, Zimbabwe has been struggling with opening partnerships for a very long time. So do you think right now you kind of have figured it out in terms of who opens Test cricket, T20, one-day international? Because from the past, from this ODI, we've seen that we won because of the opening partnership. So would you say you have managed to figure the headache that you found in Zimbabwe cricket with that opening partnership factor?
Yeah, I mean, it's such an important part of the game in all 3 formats is that opening partnership. And it's extremely pleasing to see Ben and Brian have put on 96, I think, in the first game. They still got it was 38, I think 38 in the second. So that's still a start, it's still momentum, and then obviously the 124 today. So they're forming a strong partnership, which is brilliant to see. I think I personally really like the fact that it's left-right as well. I think Ben will be able to sort of be a testament to that in terms of it does go a long way in terms of obviously unsettling opposition in a certain way. So they've been brilliant. For me, that is such an important part, us finding that opening pair across all 3 formats. And obviously, Benny and Murray have also laid a good foundation in the T20 formats. And then we've seen some good opening partnerships in the Test format as well, which is good. So there may not have been big individual scores from the 2 openers, but they have got us off to a decent start in terms of seeing off the new ball and getting us as close to 30 overs relatively unscathed as possible. So it's good to see, yes.
First of all, I should must remember to congratulate you, both of you guys, on the series win. My question is for Ben. Ben, domestic cricket, I remember meeting you a couple of years ago, and you sort of like, what do I need to do, what do I need to do? Then coming into this season, what sort of clarity did you have around your mind so that you could put up the numbers that you were not putting up before and then be able to get to this level of cricket?
I think in the past few seasons I've been back and I've done okay. As Justin said, when you're playing domestic cricket and the step up to international cricket is obviously big, so you want to be dominating. And I think coming back this year, that was sort of my mindset, was to try and pile on the runs and big runs as much as I could, and not necessarily be satisfied with whatever score it may be. Game after game, just trying to, I guess, give the selectors no choice. If you're putting the runs on the board at the end of the day, if you're so far ahead of everyone else, that gives you the best opportunity to be picked. So I think that was my mindset coming into this year.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.